in the industry. Really appreciate it. And to our members of the media, thank you for being here. We really appreciate it. And I hope you'll get some interesting information, some informative information, and I hope that will generate into some interesting discussions during our Q&A time. So, Debbie, nothing's off the table. You're welcome to ask anything, and hopefully we'll have some interactive discussions a bit later on. Debbie, thank you for joining us again. I think you've become a little bit of an institution with our SOMI events, so I really appreciate it. And I'm very pleased that you're part of this format, and I'm not sitting on the other side of your investigative journalism of growth. But we need to keep this in perspective. Still a fairly soft market compared to what we've experienced in the last 10 years, over 600, even over 700,000. So we've got a way to go. And the B segment of the market, and that still is the biggest sector at 21%. Second, and yes, in South Africa we are a bucky market. We are a truck market. Double cabs are the second biggest sector for us in South Africa, and the third biggest being C segment. That's our Corolla Cross size, that segment. Many of you here, if I look at all your faces, have been around for a while, you'll remember when C segment was the biggest single sector in South Africa. The change is, 5 years ago, in B segment, which is the largest sector in South Africa, 35% of the vehicles were SUV. Now we have 52%. So significant growths. We still have the hatch dominating in the sub B and A segment, but it's interesting to see how SUVs are now flowing through all the sectors. The premium sector is now 60% SUV derivatives. C segment obviously very, very quickly getting to where D segment is now, which is really dominated by SUV type of models.
Hello, my name is Michael. I'm the owner of Change Cars and the host of the TV show All Things Motoring. I have one mission, and that is to make a difference to the motoring public. Making a difference how? Making sure that you have safe options, making sure that you have knowledge. In that regard, it is my absolute pleasure and privilege to work with Alan Rosenmeyer of Motor Matters. The man with a hat, I'm the man with no hat, he's the man with the knowledge. Thank you for watching.
In South Africa has actually dropped compared to 2019 by 1%. So 24% of all passenger cars sold in South Africa are sourced in South Africa. The dramatic change has come from those sourced from India and China. So India now makes up 42% of all vehicles sold in South Africa, with 44 models, and China has grown by 300% over the last 5 years, from 10 to 15 models. A little bit of decline in Germany, Japan, and South Korea. If we then break down India and China, you'll see that the vehicles sourced from India are largely the smaller vehicles, the B segment vehicles and A segment vehicles. However, from China, they're actually quite a bit larger. The biggest is actually C segment, and then followed by B. So India and China for commercial vehicles also dropped from 83 to 81%, and a little increase from Japan and Sweden. South Africa is becoming, we thought it was one of the most competitive markets in the world in terms of the number of derivatives, models and brands compared to the total size of our market. But it's become even more so. 2 new passenger car brands, 3 new light commercial vehicle brands, and 2 new commercial vehicle brands. And the arrows indicate the number of new models that are entering into all of those segments. So 14 new premium models, and we don't count here where a model is replaced by a new generation brand. So there was a 65% increase in new energy vehicle sales in South Africa compared to last year. And you'll see that 2019, 2020 really didn't see too much of a change. We'd really started talking about it then, but we only now recently started to see the impact in the vehicles. The total volumes are still fairly small, but the trajectory is quite interesting. So from 40 models, we now have 66 models, hybrids making up the majority of new energy vehicle sales at 84%, 4% plug-in hybrids, and 12% battery electric vehicles.
In a market that kind of turned on us in the second quarter. I mean, the first quarter, the sales team were very confident, the network was confident that we were going to get to that massive number that we chased last year. But to be honest, to have achieved 142,000 is remarkable. in a market that really slowed down tremendously. What's also interesting is we sold 10,000 units ever put on the table, 26.8%, again in a market that's been incredibly tough. And the credit goes to our dealer network. I mean, we have, I always say we have the best dealer network in the business. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Then, of course, if you look at the TSAM share within the different segments, you'll see that we actually play in every single segment, right from right to extra heavy trucks. Extra heavy trucks, we've just launched 700, so we're now in that space. Thank goodness for that. But what is interesting is if you look at C segment, the sales teams have been doing very well, and we're very grateful for the loyal customers that we have in the rental space.
And on the past
That we've always had, we've always said that we want to achieve a 25% market share by 2025. I don't think we're going to get there, and there's many reasons for that, but we achieved a 16% share, which is still very, very good. Let's not forget, as a brand, we've always struggled to play in the A and B segment. We've never really had really competitive products in this space. But Starlet has just shot the lights out, and Starlet's doing very well for us. I mean, it's got 31% share in this segment, which is very good. Urban Cruiser has done extremely well, but we have been restricted on supply on Urban Cruiser. And of course, Wits, which plays in the A segment. It started very slow, but it ended off very strong last year. And Lumion just kind of carries on its normal pace, Corolla Cross now has a 39 or call it 40% market share within the C segment. This product has just done extremely well. In the South African market, it's very well accepted. Corolla Quest has done well as well. The numbers are obviously much lower. And then of course Corolla Sedan and Corolla Edge. But Corolla Cross has been and it's a locally produced product, which we're very proud of. And it's done extremely well accepted by our network as well as by our customers. Fortuner again stands out. I mean, last year we sold just under 10,000. Still got a 51% share within this space. It's incredible. And Fortuner is just ticking along. If you look at Land Cruiser 300, if you look at that increase of 46% versus 2022, and if you look at Prado and Land Cruiser 76 and 95%, comes off a very low base. So that's why the numbers show high. But the story, I must tell you, the Lexus team has done actually an incredible job. If you look at the premium segment, it's actually dropping. Since 2019, the premium segment has been under huge pressure. But look at Lexus. Lexus has been consistently flat, but now it's starting to grow, which is incredible for this brand. And we've never said we wanted to be a volume brand in Lexus. It's a very niche market. We've changed our strategy on dealer representation in the country. Hilux is quite incredible. I mean, the 37,000 units that you see there for last year is our second highest number that we've achieved in the history of Hilux in this country. The last number that we achieved higher than that was in 2019. We achieved a number of 40,993. Andrew, it resonates with most of the vice presidents in sales and marketing, and I'm very sure the execs down in Durban. This brand we've always said, it's not a volume brand, it's a niche brand again. We have a huge following in South Africa on motorsport, and this was an intended strategy to launch a Kazoo Racing product lineup, and to support the product lineup is the motorsport leg of GR. And if you look at pure GR, that's your high performance products. Those are very low volumes in terms of sales, but we know that. But these are very unique bespoke cars that are proper racing cars. And then you have your GRS brand, which has been also very, very successful, especially if you look at Land Cruiser and the Corolla Cross GRS. You saw the slide that Andrew also showed, a 22% increase versus 2022. And within the Toyota's share of NEV, we are at 53%. So, and you'll see that Corolla Cross and RAV has played the biggest portion of this. And again, we didn't have the volume, especially on RAV. I believe RAV would have been a lot higher. But this, and I mean, you can see all the product ranges as well. And if you look at Lexus on its own, 42% of our entire network, our entire Lexus range that we have available are new energy vehicles. Lexus has been at this for quite some time, and we've been very successful with it. To the cover.
So we had a full year of production in 2023. And you can see that in the market size in terms of volume of production increased from 550 to 626,000 units, so 30% increase. And a good portion of that, as I'll show you just now, came from our this performance. You can see the big jump, and that just reflects the recovery. So from 133 to 177, 33% increase, basically accounted for the lost production last year. We just under 40% export mix, and you can see the mix with Europe and the rest of Africa. And we're going to have a fairly soft market for the first half of the year, and the build-up to national elections will create a level of uncertainty, and we know that customers and businesses will hold back a little bit. So we are quite conservative with our outlook. We think that we'll get to comfortably 540,000. That is, from an optical point of view, quite good, because at least it's better than 2019. So we can now eventually say we've recovered from the COVID environment. But analytically, that's where our number comes out. And we think that the second half will be slightly stronger. But you can see it's very marginal. We're only looking at emissions from our operations, Scope 2 being the emissions from the energy that we purchase, and Scope 3 being the emissions from the vehicles that we sell, including the value chain being our suppliers and dealers. So today I just want to give you a brief update on Scope 2. We are continuing to make progress. I previously announced that we'd be 100% renewable energy by 2028. We're still on track. We completed 4.1 megawatts, peak megawatts of rooftop solar installations last year, and we will continue with that into next year. In fact, we'd like to increase it above the 4.1. That means that we currently have 11.2 megawatt peak solar capacity, and we spent 239 million. Our plan is to install 34 megawatts of rooftop solar to the tune of just under 750 million. And that will get us to a position where we will be 100% renewable during our day shift in the car industry. But it's not just the direction towards zero emission vehicles. In Toyota, we have a view that we want to minimize the negative impacts of vehicles, i.e. road safety, accidents, pollution and traffic congestion, and maximize the positive aspects of vehicles, which is the convenience, and this obviously includes the livelihoods that are reliant on them by 2035. I want to make a brief mention on battery technology, because we are